r/AskReddit, people that live in Australia, how much are the fires affecting you? I can't tell you how many times I've called my mum to make sure she's still alive. She is a rural firefighter. Not my town specifically. Although we have had a lot of smoke quality compared to 20 cigarettes. Relatives evacuated. And one of the early deaths to be confirmed was a family friend. I'm in Gippsland, so it's bad here. Everyone knows someone who has been evacuated, lost their home, lost animals, etc. It's a really somber atmosphere made worse by the complete idiots running our government and their response. It feels like the only ones who will help us are our own countrymen and thankfully people from overseas. To everyone on here that donated, thank you so much. You have no idea how much it means. So know there are people out there who want to help. I live in Canberra. It's the city that had the air quality that was like a 10 times worse than New Delhi or something like that. Definitely sucked, but we were only number 1 in the world because the towns nearby that are right in it aren't counted on that list. They have it much worse by far. This was meant to be my summer of heading down the coast, but I haven't been able to go. That's so minor compared to the people who actually live on the south coast of NSW that it seems silly to type it. Most Aussies are basically fine. But this feels like the worst fire season across the board that I remember in my life, in terms of scope. I'm not sure about damage/fatalities. It was smoky one morning, but that's about it. It's been raining quite a bit this week in my area of Sam. Not to take away from how devastating the fires are at all, and the immense loss of those affected. Australia is nearly the same size as the US, excluding Alaska, which I think people don't realize. I'm just here visiting for a while, but when someone compared Oz to the US I was mind blown. Where the major blazes in NSW and East Vic are to me would be like North and South Carolina to Texas for comparison. A sheetload of smoke. Haven't been able to leave the house with my kids or run my aircon because it's not safe. Aircon is old and filter is sheet. The couple of times I have needed to leave the house driving is dangerous because visibility is insanely low. One of my friends has had to leave due to the smoke and another is about 2. One's pregnant, the other is asthmatic. My auntie's house may or may not have gone. They still haven't been able to get to it, and a house I used to go to on family holidays has been confirmed to be ash. In all honesty, it's still early in the season. We have a couple of months of this to go yet. My hometown burned down last week. It was terrifying seeing the pictures in the news and not knowing if my family home or my mum's grave would still be there. Luckily the fire missed them by about 1 kilometer, but it's still burning and not yet under control. I live in the city now, so I've just been dealing with the hazardous air quality and eerie yellow sky for the past few months. That's nothing compared to the people back home. I live in a major city and don't have a home, so not at all really. It's just frustrating how incompetent the government has been at dealing with it. American here. I know very little about the situation. Would you elaborate how the government is dealing with it and how it could be better? I'm genuinely interested. Well, the Prime Minister went to Hawaii after the fires started for a vacay. That's low. Oh, it only gets better from there. Guy went to a fire affected zone for a publicity stunt, then forced a few people to shake his hand. Got shouted out of the town. Then, recently, he announced how happy he was no one died in the Kangaroo Island Ike fires. 2 people died. He tried to move the meaning to no firefighters died. The 2 people who died were apparently on their way back from fighting fires. And mind, that's just the PM. The Liberal government is absolutely atrocious. They give away land and water like it's nothing. They've crippled our internet upgrade, the NBN. They're corporate, specifically Murdoch/Newsco, sock puppets. I live in Melbourne, so we have thankfully been spared the actual fires themselves, although the smoke rolled in about a month ago and has been terrible since. I'm not asthmatic, but I've been having trouble breathing, and I'm a fit young person. Those people I do know who are asthmatic have been really struggling on a day-to-day basis. I was in South Australia camping on the beach over New Year's with friends. At one point we were ringed in by 3 fires in every direction. While none of these fires posed an immediate threat as they were dozens of kilometers away still, we had to be very careful on the drive back to Victoria, and at one point the smoke reduced the visibility on the highway to about 100 meters. On our last night at the beach, a gale hit us from Kangaroo Island, carrying smoke and causing ash to rain on us all night. It was an incredibly eerie and apocalyptic feeling and experience. Safe to say that we were all pretty bummed out by this and went to bed early. Beyond that, there is a general feeling of fear, unease and barely concealed rage at how these fires have developed and been handled. It's hard to know for certain what the political fallout will be from all this, but one thing that is for sure is that there is almost universal condemnation in much of Victoria for how the federal government has utterly failed in its duty to protect people and plan for this catastrophe, which was seen a long way out. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, is almost universally loathed for his decision to abandon the country during the unfolding crisis, amongst other terrible gaffes. People here want real solutions to climate change and proper support for our emergency services, and none of that has been forthcoming from this government so far. Over Christmas, was staying down near the fires. It was pretty intense. People were being evacuated to near where we were staying, so we were fairly safe, but it was still unsettling, very dark and smoky and orange some days. Not long after we went home we had family members having to watch for embers down there, so that was concerning. Prior to Christmas, was just lots of smoke and whole weeks of lightless red sun. My physio had 2 of her children lose their whole farms and livelihoods, and family knew people who had the same, worryingly close to areas I frequent in holiday periods. Towns I have been to as a kid are just gone. It's pretty horrifying. Parents are due to go away in a week and they're waiting to see if their holiday house is still standing. I live in an urban area of Sydney, the inner west for those familiar, so my home, or life, is not at risk from the actual fires. But I can tell you that I've never experienced this level of smoke pollution in my life. Many people are opting to wear faster masks, and advice has been to stay indoors as much as possible, preferably somewhere with air conditioning or filtered air. I can tell you it's having a very real effect on people's mental health. Not being able to see the sky for weeks at a time is a shock for Australian used to the usual gorgeous blue summers we're used to. Almost everyone I know has suffered from some sort of cough, itch, or irritation. Also lots of stys in people's eyes. It's scary thinking about the long-term effects of breathing in all this charcoal will have. I guess we will just have to wait and see. Being 40 kilometers away from the closest fire and seeing burnt leaves falling from the sky is unnerving. This is obviously not the worst of it, just my personal experience. I'm heading to the climate protest tonight in Sydney, and I hope everyone who can does too. Edit. 40 kilometers, not 20. My city has been covered in smoke on and off for nearly 2 months and it's too toxic to go outside. People without air conditioners are struggling because it is very hot, but they can't open their houses up for breezes. One lady died in our city from the air quality. I feel very sad for homeless people who can't escape it. My partner's family got evacuated from their hometown and many towns and houses around them have been destroyed by fire. My family in Victoria were trapped on a beach for 2 days surrounded by fire and had to be evacuated by the Navy. Everyone around me seems to have been impacted in some way. It's been incredibly stressful and depressing in my city, and we are not even at direct risk of fires, yet there are 2 big fires quite close by. We are going to protest today because our fire service is almost entirely voluntary and our politicians are failing us on climate change. There is a very scared, sad, angry vibe around. That being said, people have also been helping each other out. Lots of people offering their houses up to people fleeing from the coast and trying to help out where possible. Trying to focus on positives, but it's hard. I live in New Zealand, not Australia, but I still wake up and the sky is orange from the fires in Australia. I'm protesting tonight. I have a good mate fighting the fires on Kangaroo Island, and I'm worried about him. We are advised to minimize our time spent outdoors and not to do any exercise due to the smoke. I woke up in a panic this morning as I smelled the smoke. Nothing was burning, it's just so thick. This morning it was raining ash and embers on my house and car. I'm incredibly far away from the fire site. The local business asked as people are cancelling bookings, not entering the fire danger area. It's not good for a lot of people. Honestly, on half of my state at one point had extreme fire and smoke danger, while the other side was extreme thunderstorm warning. I'm so confused, but also really disappointed at how much the government is doing for them. I also really have so much respect for those whose houses are burnt, or burning or have to have been evacuated, and those who are volunteering as firefighters. I live near Kangaroo Island. Last night at 12:30 am I was out of water, and was extremely hot. Went to leave my room, and as soon as I did I got this huge hit of smoke-filled air. Like, after a fire pit has been out for an hour and you get a rash smell. I just joined the CFS, so I'm keen to do my part. But this is crazy, since I predicted it'd be bad this year, but I didn't think this bad. Woke up coughing with stinging eyes, because smoke is covering my city. It's stressful and depressing. I'm not in a fire zone, but I'm hearing about them, seeing images everywhere, knowing the country is burning, and it could very easily burn where I live, and I will have to run. I'm currently 2 kilometers away from a fire. It is controlled, which is great for everyone in the area, but it is still affecting the air quality quite a lot. I know there is a massive one 7 kilometers away, which is the main problem. It's only significantly affected me a few times. I went to school a few weeks ago, and the halls were full of smoke. Everyone got sent home, but majority of people didn't come in the first place. Last night I woke up and came downstairs to my sister because of the strong smell of smoke, and she said it smells like a bonfire. There have been many other similar situations, but they are all to do with the air quality. For me, the fires have just been a big irritation. I do know lots of people who have been in dangerous situations because of it, though, mainly trying to protect their farms and families' homes. Still waiting for my school to burn down. Not due to the fires, but the drought that led to these fires caused the company I previously worked for to shut down. What kind of company was it? Was a small bakery. Because of the drought, the cost of the meat and flour both went up by a pretty large amount, and we started losing money just from production costs. Then the stores that bought our stuff didn't want to pay more for our food, so we had to shut down. I live in the Adelaide Hills and had to evacuate for about a week just before Christmas due to the fires. Luckily they went away from us. No, so lucky for the towns in that direction. Had to evacuate twice more, since due to other fires flaring up, so mostly just an inconvenience for me / my family compared to those in the towns hit here, or the poor bastards over on Key, or in Vic and NSW. There's smoke in the sky and I don't know where it's from. It's been like that for months, sometimes clearer, sometimes much worse. And this whole thing has been a great example as to why you don't vote for the LNP. In Melbourne, which is completely safe from any fire danger, effect on me has been minimal. Air was bad Monday to Thursday this week. Not unbreathable but bad. At the duck going to the gym level. My Christmas / New Year's tentative holiday plans had to be scrapped, all 4 of them. Hiking in the Alpine National Park was cancelled by the time the fires got going. Hiking in the Grampians was a backup plan, but I didn't particularly want to go there. In Sydney or Adelaide would have probably involved driving there, not happening in these conditions. I'd have made it to Adelaide. Had I set out for Sydney, I'd have been turned around. My sinuses are spectacularly not happy, but we are in no real danger. Still putting work into our bug out bag, because you ought to have one for whatever type of emergency. Currently not speaking to a friend who went sightseeing on Kangaroo Island last week. Bloody idiot. I've noticed my local grocery store is low on bread and their prices for some foods are higher than usual. Volunteer firefighters are losing their jobs because they can't work due to fighting fires. Our government aren't compensating them either. They're expecting individual companies to give out paid leave, which isn't happening for most people. Our PM doesn't give two sheets about anyone who's dying or fighting. This country is a ducking joke. Like and subscribe for more videos.